Hey, it's Chris Amori with Virtual Administrator, and thank you for attending our Ninite Universal Script Overview. I'm here with my partner in crime, Dan Kolansky, and this is going to be an exciting webinar. It's one of the biggest ones we've ever done. We clearly hit something, Dan, don't you think?
Oh yeah, yeah. This is going to be a huge webinar.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we've got a lot of data. A lot of information. We know this is going to run for a while, so we're going to dive right in and get started.
So, real quick, guys, just if you can hear us, go ahead and just punch something into the chat box, just so that we know that you can hear us. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to quick cover some housekeeping. Number one, we're starting to do hybrid webinars. We did this last 2 weeks ago with a sales webinar, where the webinar was actually recorded ahead of time. This time we're going to do a little bit of both, and so some of it will be done live, some of it's going to be recorded. Oh, here come all the highs. Hi guys. Wow, so many hellos. That is so cool. I'm so excited to hear from everyone. This is within our top 10 webinars as far as attendees and people in the audience. So that's really cool. Thank you guys all for being here. The other thing that you want to do is, if you have questions, you can punch them into the chat box, and we're going to be kind of keeping track of questions as they come in. And so what you want to do is just click, type it into the chat box. Don't expect an answer right away. We may save some of the questions for the end of the webinar, but we will try to answer, as many as we can. Also, either, as Chris is doing things, I may be typing things in the background to answer questions, or we'll try to answer them at the end of the webinar. And then we will be recording this. I'm actually going to, starting now.
Oops.
We will be recording this.
Good thing we put that in there, huh?
I know, right? No, it should be recorded. It actually records straight to YouTube, so there will be a recording available, and you will get an email about an hour after the webinar ends with the recording, but we will also be publishing it to Club MSP, so you can always hop in there and view the recording later. So if you have to jump out, I know that your time is valuable, then you can do that. So we got a ton to cover today, so I'm going to flip it back to Chris, and Chris, I'll let you take it from here, and we're going to try and squeeze this into an hour. But if it goes a little over, apologies ahead of time.
So real quick, just to kind of recap for the agenda, we're going to talk about, why to update, third-party software, and also get into why use Ninite to do that. We want to review the universal all-in-one script that we wrote, kind of give you a little bit on why we created it. I'm going to show you how to download it, how to assign the license to it, and then, of course, how to run it. We're going to get into the reporting. I think that's a big thing that a lot of people struggle with Info Center. So I'm going to show you how to, be able to run a couple of reports and get some data out of it. And then at the very end, we'll show you how you get Ninite and get started yourself. With that, let's get started. And Dan's going to tell us on why you want to update.
So I'm going to take over the screen here. We're gonna be bouncing screens back and forth, so hopefully the technology will keep up with us. So so the big question: why update, or why, especially why third-party updates? The number one reason is that people are just getting sick, especially industry giants. They're getting sick of poor security. Last year, 2015. Wired, there was this huge debacle with Flash. I think it was about last July. Wired actually published an article titled "Flash Must Die." I mean, that was just about as clear as it can get. And the Register had another one. They were quoting Adobe. It's like, we're really taking Flash security seriously. They added their own addendum. Honestly, that's what we're doing. And then Adobe in October actually released 70 security updates in one patch, or in one series of patches, all at once last October. And it was like there was just so much stuff going on around Flash last year. That was a big one. But Flash was not alone. The browsers, web browsers, have suffered a lot from security flaws as well. And last year, this is a graph that I got here of Google Chrome. In 2015, it had 188 vulnerabilities, which was actually they're kind of on the way up, although they did worse in 2011 and 2012. So that's pretty good. And then Firefox had 182. It was actually a worse year for Firefox, although ironically better than Chrome, but not by a lot. And so these were vulnerabilities that were reported to the National Vulnerability Database. And so there was also third-party updates to Java, Reader, and Flash. These are just some quick things from last year. Java's JRE had 80 last year, and you can see in 2013 they broke some records there. That was the previous time we did a webinar on this was in 2013, and I remember we posted a bunch of articles about people saying, this year we're talking about like, Flash must die, things like that. That's what they were saying in 2013. They were like, Java's got to go. Java really hasn't left, but they are doing better with making sure that their system is staying more secure. Adobe Acrobat had a terrible year with 136 updates, security flaws detected, and hopefully most of them were patched. But the king was Flash, which this is just a really crazy graph. You can just see the huge spike where they went up to 330 security flaws detected in 2015. Overall, this is everything in the National Security Database. So this includes all the browsers, all the software packages, and everything. And you'll see that in 2015, stuff was down, but critical or high security patches were up higher than they have been in the past. And so, it's kind of a wash. It looks like it's getting better, but that's not really true. It's that the ones that we're detecting are getting worse, although there's fewer overall. So that... the reason to update is security, and security is a big issue, and security flaws are being detected quite rapidly. And before this was done, or before we started the webinar, I wrote in one of the emails, it was like, hey, we're going to give you guys some of this ammo. So I'm sure you're looking at this saying, man, I really need to view the recording or take some screenshots or something. What you want to do is go to the National Vulnerability Database. Chris and I actually found this while we were preparing for this webinar. It is a really cool database where you can grab some of these slides, and what you do is just go to this link. You can just grab a screenshot of this or something, or just Google National Vulnerability Database, go to their website. All these graphs that I just showed in the last few minutes can be found under a link called Statistics, which is in the upper right hand side of the page, or there's another one which showed that last graph, which was under Visualizations, which is another link in their primary menu. So you can just hop on there and grab all these statistics, and they're really cool when you're sitting down and doing sales presentations, or if you're just trying to show your customers that you're protecting them, or if you just want to do a presentation in general, you can show some of these stats. So they're really cool graphs. So I'm going to flip it back to Chris, and I'm going to try to. There we go. And I'm going to let him take it from here, right?
Awesome. Thank you, Dan. So the next is, why Ninite? And the primary reason, and there's a couple of things, but one of them is just the number of different programs that they support. We've had a lot of that stuff ourselves. I'll show you in a second, but it's very complex to keep that up to date. We have Kyle spends every Tuesday. He goes through all of the updates, and it's a lot of work to do it. This is their business, and they basically do a great job of keeping it up to date. One of the things that I really liked about it is the concept of this single script to do everything. So we've had audit scripts, for example. That's just as one script. We've had different audit scripts to go out there and audit different packages and report on the results. So if you wanted to do this for the, the big things, Flash and Java and Reader, you would have to schedule 4, 5, 6 different packages in order to get that data and then run that in a report. Ninite can do that in one, and it not only does it do, you can see there we've only got maybe 10 or 15 different items. They can do this for 111 different things and be able to tell you what is installed on your client's machines. And that's a big part. I'm going to show you how to run an audit as part of this, so hang on. And then, the last thing, and maybe the most important thing, is that we want to keep the clients from clicking yes to everything, because if we can stop, the main things from coming up, so they don't get prompted to do that. We can get them in the habit of not saying yes, of questioning these pop-ups. So by getting rid of the things that we do want to update, we can basically stop them from clicking all the things that they shouldn't be clicking on, because those things are causing problems. That's how viruses get in. That's how some of the crypto stuff gets in, and we want to try to block that. So by keeping those third-party programs up to date, we can accomplish that. Dan, you want to tell them a little bit also maybe some other stuff they can use in sales?
Yeah, so as Chris and I were putting this presentation together, I kept saying, the important thing we need to talk about is sales. We need to talk about sales. Sales is important. We need to make sure that we mention this in sales. And so finally, Chris was like, okay, you go in and you can say your bit. The reason that I kept saying it over and over and over again is because as MSPs, one of the hardest things that we have to do, one of the hardest jobs that we have is to prove to our customers that we're actually doing something. And because managed services, especially in an all-you-can-eat type policy, is it feels like insurance. And so people feel like they're just giving us money and they're not getting anything in return. Third-party updates is a fantastic way to show this. And we're actually going to show you a little bit, in actually just a few minutes, how you can start using Ninite to run audits on your client systems and return back some reports that you can show them. So it gives you some ammo. When you're going in, you're talking to your current clients, or you're going in, you're talking to new clients, you can say, hey, look, this is where your systems are right now. And, and I almost included it in this presentation, but I didn't. Well, you can look up some of the top security breaches in the industry that have happened recently. Late 2014 was the Sony breach. Other big breaches have been LastPass was breached. What's it called? The National Employee Database was leaked. You start reporting things like this, and you just sit down with your clients and be like, look, the big guys are struggling with this. I'm going to help you so that you don't have to deal with this. We're going to just make sure that all your stuff is up to date. We're going to make sure that all your programs are taken care of. And look, you're not there already, even with your current IT provider. We're going to make sure that you stay there permanently, and we can show you these audits on a fairly regular basis. So it's a pretty big sales pitch, and a pretty big a good tool in your bag for dealing with your current clients as well, and making sure that they know that you're actually getting stuff done.
Awesome. So why the heck did we create this universal Ninite script? So you guys probably know, we've had hundreds of Ninite scripts that we developed over the past few years. They're in the VA shared folder. There's a set for partner licensed Ninite, and there's a set for VA licensed Ninite, okay? And then we've also got scripts to update only, if you want to update only, and uninstall. And those scripts have worked pretty well, but like I mentioned with the audit scripts, we needed a separate script to install each program. And if we tried to combine them together into one script, then the reporting that we used as part of these scripts kind of broke down. And so we felt like it really needed an overhaul. The other big thing that we ran into was partners were asking us, look, I want to install this set of programs for this client, but this client, I need to install a different set. I've got a client that has Adobe Acrobat everywhere. I don't want to install Adobe Reader. Or I've got a client that has, needs to be on version X of Java, and I don't want to upgrade to, version Y of Java. So how do you manage that? And the only way to do that in the previous scenario was literally to have a different set of scripts assigned to each client and keeping that all up to date. And it also meant you couldn't use any kind of automation. You couldn't build this into a template, because you had to basically sit there and assign everything. So that was kind of the main catalyst for us to move forward. And as we did this, we had kind of some design requirements in this all-in-one script. We wanted that one flexible script to be able to do everything. Dan calls it the one script to rule them all, So we didn't want you to have to download and schedule many different scripts for every client. We also wanted the ability, as I mentioned, to specify by client exactly which applications you want to install. And so you could make that a templated item. We wanted to be able to report, right? I think, the executive summary report is something that many of you use. And, there's some good data in there, but what if we could say what we're doing beyond just patching and giving them a score on, our report card score? What if we could show them that we're updating Adobe this many times a month and Java this many times a month? And that's what I think we've accomplished with this. We had this idea to record time spent. So you're going to see that there's a way to run a report that shows you how long the computer spends doing that, okay? And then the last thing that we looked at was we wanted to have the ability to cache the installers to limit the bandwidth of the traffic, right? Because we're doing all these installs. I will tell you that was a major challenge. It's still one that I'm not sure I'm like 100% confident with, but I'm going to talk about it just a little bit. Most of this webinar, we're going to talk about just the standard, one-to-one. Everybody's going to download and keep their own installation files. But I think we're going to do another webinar specifically on the network, on the caching one. What we found is that, you have to be in a domain. It's all about permissions, accessing a share through Kaseya. So it really gave us fits. Okay, so now the fun starts, right? I'm going to get into a live demo. This is possibly the most complex webinar we've ever done, because trying to show you things and make sure they work, and having already done them anyway, I've got like a bunch of windows open, so bear with me. I think I can get through it. Right now I want to show you the beginning. How do you download it, import it, and assign the license to it, okay? So with that, let's go in here, and I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that everything works. So we are going to go to Club MSP, all right? There's our Asian Justin Bieber there. If you don't have a login to Club MSP, if you're a VA partner, you should have a login. We have one login per company, so you need to get it from whoever originally signed up. If you are not a virtual administrator partner, welcome. Club MSP and these scripts are available to you. There's a subscription for it, and you can sign up online. But you need to be a licensed member of Club MSP. So you're going to click the scripts button over here, and we'll wait for that to load up. And then up in the search box, you type whatever you're looking for. So right now we're looking for 2 scripts. I'm going to use the Ninite All for Ninite All-in-one, and I'm going to click on that. And there it is, Ninite All-in-one. So this particular one, it's not only an all-in-one, but it's one folder. We're going to actually import a folder. So this is how you import from Club MSP into Kaseya. Click on the script, and as long as you are logged in, it should say like howdy your name up there. Scroll down, and you see the script there. You're going to just click in the box, do a Control-C to paste it into your paste buffer, and then we're going to go back to Kaseya. You want to go to the agent procedures, schedule create, and we're going to go to bring it into your private area, all right? And we're going to say import folder procedure, and all we're going to do is paste it in and hit save, okay? It is really that easy, all right? So there's our folder with those scripts. I'm going to go back and grab one more thing for you, and that's the audit. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use Ninite audit, and we'll search for that. And we'll grab that and import that, okay? Boom, boom, boom. All right, now here we have the 2 different ones. We have the Ninite Partner Licensed and the Ninite VA Licensed, okay? We'll talk about this a little bit at the end, but the basic difference is for those of you that license Ninite directly from Ninite, you will use the Partner Licensed ones. For those of you that buy your Ninite licenses from us, you will use the VA Licensed ones, okay? We're going to focus on the VA licensed ones right now. The difference is on the VA license, we're going to put a license key in. On the partner license, you're going to change the URL where you download your Ninite one, I think it is, executable. Okay, that's the only difference between them. It's just those 2. So I'm using the VA licensed audit, And we're going to, again, click that, Control-C, pop back up to this, import folder procedure, paste, save. I'm flying through this because I know we have a lot of stuff to do. Okay, so there we go. We've got the Ninite only and this folder called Ninite improved. All right, if you are a partner, subscribe one, delete the VA Ninite ones. You're never going to use them. If you're a VA, if you're licensing your Ninite from us, delete the partner ones. You're never going to use them, right? So just edit it down so they get in your way. This create, share, net test, I'm not going to talk about. That's all related to the domain cache. I think that really is another webinar, okay? Today we're going to use the all-in-one no cache, okay? I'm going to edit that procedure. This is probably the longest thing, I'm sure. And we did not, this is live. We didn't edit this down. So, you know, Kaseya takes bloody forever for this to load, but it's caching a bunch of stuff in there. All right, so that's good. That wasn't too bad. All right, so you see line 1 here, get variable, your license here. That's pretty obvious. You need to put your license key in. We're going to issue a license key. It's probably your email address. So where I'm going to put demo@virtualadministrator.com, and then we're going to save that. That's all we've got to do is go back up here and save. All right. While I'm in there, let me show you a little trick. If you ever need to open up more, use the procedure open button instead of going and running it again. And I'm going to go ahead and update the audit as well. And the same thing, this one says enter lick here, but it's the same thing. Just put your license key in. And you have to be able to spell. And again, we're going to save that. Okay. Don't forget, then, you know, you may need to get your scripts approved. So if you find that, you know, they may be pending approval over here. All right. So they will need to be approved. But I'm going to actually, I'm going to jump a little bit on you, okay? We're going to start with an audit. So I'm going to show you how to run an audit. Basically, I think you guys probably know how to schedule. You pick your script, you pick your machine, you hit run now, or you schedule it to run, okay? So I've already done that, and I'm going to flip over to another box here. And what I want to show you is that audit is run on this virtual, this kind of this demo box. And to look at that, it figures. Just as I was in it, it logged us out. Good, hang on, we got it. Sorry, hang on a sec. There we go. All right, so when that comes in, you can look at it a variety of different ways, but the easiest way that I like to do it is to, you know, do it in the agent logs. I'm going to show you this in a little bit for the other one. So let me jump right to the info center. I don't want to duplicate some stuff. So we're going to run the info center, and we're going to run a report on the audit that was on that machine. Okay, and so to do that, we go to the reports. And here we have, if you're a Network Depot, or I'm sorry, no, a virtual administrator partner, if you're on any of our servers, the K2 or the VA4 server, you probably already have this, what we call third-party apps audit, okay? If you don't, then you can create it very easily. I'm going to show you when we go to create these other ones. Everything is based on a key. This key is $audit $, okay? So we're gonna run that, and it's going to bring up the box, and then we're just going to go ahead and submit it. All right, there we go. And there's the summary there. Let me blow this up so in case I need a little clearer. So on this machine, this is where we started, and it read everything that was on the machine. Okay, it's not limited to just all of the different 111 different things that they look at. It's going to report on it. And part of both of these scripts that I'm going to show you is not the Ninite script running. It's the VB script that we run. That's sort of our special sauce, that we've run this script after the fact to clean up all of this. Because if you looked at the raw log, this would just be a list of 111 different things telling you that it's not installed, not installed, not installed. That's not helping anybody. So what this is this is the actually what I have installed on that machine. All right. So the skipped stuff just means that it sees it. It knows what the latest one should be, but it's not going to try to update it for you, okay? So although it identifies it, it doesn't actually try to update it. You see Office is the same way. But everything else here is either requires an update or some things are up to date. So like Java 7 is okay, but it's Java 7, right? So, but it says it's at the latest version there, all right? So that is basically how to run an audit. You would get a complete list by company, by machine, and it would show you all of the applications that are installed. And that's a pretty good, like a pre-sales thing, or even to use it as a kind of an audit tool for yourself to see is Ninite working correctly, is whatever you're using to update these third-party apps. This thing takes literally like 2 minutes to run. I mean, maybe not even that long. It's really fast, so it's awesome. Okay, all right. Let me flip back here. That was that part of it. Hopefully that was okay. All right, let's look at the next step. And we did the audit. Okay, so I'm ahead of we ran the audit. So the big thing we want to do now is we want to go and show you how to set up the all-in-one script. Okay, we're going to use the variables in agent procedures to do this, and I'm going to show you how to find the programs and how you update it, and then how to assign it to the machine group. Okay, so that's what this piece is for. All right, here we go again. Cross your fingers. All right, so for this, I am going to go back to this server, and we are going to, again, take the all-in-one cache. And it's not really important that I highlighted that, but this is what we're focused on. So here's how we did it. We're using something called manage variables. Everybody's got this at the top of their screen, okay? And you basically, if you click on that, it'll bring up a list of all of your machine groups, all right? This is a test thing, so I don't have very much there. I'm working with the ND Chris one. You need to create a variable for each client that will describe which specific applications you want to install. Okay? It's that simple. The name of the variable is very important. It has to be Ninite apps. We believe it's case sensitive. Yeah, variable names are case sensitive. So it needs to be Ninite apps. So capital N, capital A, Ninite apps. And then in this line, we're going to list the programs that we want to install. So where does that come from? So glad you asked. We're going to go over to the Ninite website, and there's a thing called applistpro.html. I mean, literally you click this, go down to, it says extra apps full list. Okay, that's how you get to it. So just go to their website, click on Pro, and get this. This is all the 111 different programs that they have. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to take this name that's right here under select name, whatever they put, if it's in quotes, you put quotes, and you literally can copy and paste this into that box. Just separate it by a space, okay? So for this particular client, I'm gonna, let's say this is a client, I wanna install both versions of Flash. So I'm gonna do Flash and Flash IE. I wanna install Java, and I wanna put both Java 32 and Java 64. We're gonna put Adobe Reader, keep Silverlight up to date, make sure Chrome is installed, and we're gonna install 7-zip. Okay, that's my standard load that I want for this particular client. So to build that, I've cheated a little bit here, okay, just to save some time. But I literally went through and copied and pasted and made a list here in Notepad. I'm just doing this like for time. So I'm going to take my list. So again, notice the things that are in quotes are in quotes, spaces between everything. The order doesn't matter, but I'm going to bring up one thing. I mentioned it in the next demo. Do not begin it with a quote and do not end it with a quote. There's something in the parser that it doesn't like. I think Kyle fixed it, but let's just play it safe and just say, if possible, try not to begin or end it with a quote. Okay, that's all I'm saying. All right, so once we've got that, we're going to go back to our variables. We're going to paste this in. We're going to select the machine or machines, multiples at a time, and we're going to apply it. It's going to look really bad because they put special characters for all the quotes, but just trust me, it works. And that's it. Once you've got that in there, just close it. There's no save button or anything. If you want to do the next one, you can just go down and select the next group and apply it there, or pick. You're still going to always use the same variable name. You're just going to change the value for it. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and close that out. All right. So now I've assigned that. What's that?
Let me interrupt for just one second.
Sure.
Tim asked a really good question that I think fits really well here. Is there a way to have a base set of programs that it will install across the board, or do you have to do this list for every machine? How do you handle that?
Well, I mean, you can, yeah, you would just use the variable and assign it for all of your groups. I mean, that's basically what it is. So, when you look at that list, you would assign that it has to be assigned per group. I mean, that was the idea. I mean, I could create a script for you. It's very easy. It's just a select command. If you just wanted to write a script that always installs and updates that's easy to do. But then you have to manage it. Each script is going to be different per each client, if that makes sense. Gotcha. So this is how you do it. You're going to have, hopefully lots of customers. This ND Chris is a machine group. It's a machine group. It's not a machine. Okay, make sure you understand that. These are not machines. These are groups. So inside that machine group, I have the virtual CPU, right? So I'm saying everybody in this group is getting that load.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. So, all right, we got that. All right, so back out of that. All right, so then once we have that, trying to think. Once we have that done, I think we just run it, and I think we're pretty much. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I think we're basically. I'm going to show you. Let me show you how to do that. Dan.
Yep. So we're going to flip over here.
Okay, so this part of the demo we pre-recorded, mainly just to be able to edit it for time in case it takes a while for some of the software to update. But there's a few things I want to show you in this part. First, we're going to run our universal script against our demo machine. Obviously, in real life, you would probably schedule this to run on a regular cycle. Weekly is probably good enough, but it's up to you. Once we run the program, I'm going to show you how to look at the results 3 different ways. We're going to look at the agent procedure log. We're going to create an info center report so you can run a report to show the results. And also, I'm going to show you how to set up your executive summary report so that you can actually report how many times each of these programs has been updated or installed. All right, so let's jump back into our demo system. Okay, so we're on our demo system, and we've got our all-in-one, no cache VA license script, the same one we created earlier. And so I'm going to go ahead and run that now. Like I said, you might want to you obviously would schedule it if you were doing this for real, but I'm just going to go ahead and run that. And we're going to wait for that to finish. Start at about 10:30 my time. We'll see how long it takes before it finishes. So while we're waiting for this to finish, I thought you might want to just see what it looks like. If you look in the K-working directory, if everything is working correctly, you're going to see all of these random file names. These are probably all like scripts or something that Ninite downloads, and then these are the actual installers, or at least most of the big ones are probably the installers. So if you see these things appear as you're waiting for it, you know something's working correctly. And if you don't see them, then you know there's definitely a problem. Okay, we're back. It's 10:51, so it took us a little while to run that, but I actually did run into a problem. It's a problem I may have told you about in the live part of it, but I'll repeat it again just to be safe. In the in the list of things that you're going to install, if you begin it or end it with a quote, the parser has an issue. So just best practice is if you can try to make sure that you don't begin or end the line in a quote. We think we fixed that, but I'm just going to tell you that just to be on the safe side anyway. So anyway, I just had to fix that and rerun it. I'd forgotten about that. Okay, so now that we have run that, we're going to look at the results, okay? And so there's a number of ways to do that. The first one that I talked about is just looking at the agent procedure log, right? We're going to write all this information to the agent procedure log. And you can see that in the quick view, right? You click on the little icon, wait for the quick view menu, go to the procedure log, wait for that to come up, and you can see there's a lot of stuff written in here about all the things that happen. It's really not legible, okay? It's really hard to read there. So my advice is if you want to go look at this stuff, go over to the agent tab and go down to where it says agent logs. And then when you get the agent logs, you're going to select the machine that you want to look at, and then just pick the correct log. I mean, in this case, I was already on the agent procedure log, but you need to select the agent procedure log at the top. And now we can see the results, and they're a little cleaner. And I'm going to start here at kind of at the bottom and work up so you can see what's happening. So you'll notice that every one of the programs is telling us what it did. So you can see Reader was updated from version 11 that we had all the way up to 15. We installed the 7-zip. We installed the Java 64 because I didn't have 64-bit Java on there. I updated the Java 32 from version 7 to version 8. We installed Flash. This is the kind of the Flash other. We updated the Flash IE from 19 to 20. We updated Silverlight, and and then it's basically telling us that Chrome is already done. Okay, so that all of that basically is the results. You want to look at the tags. You see this at the top here, it says $Ninite. Remember that. We use tags in all of our scripts, and it's the tags that allow you to do the reporting, okay? So we've got the tags. We've got tags for a lot of other stuff in there if you wanted to report on just an individual thing, but Ninite $sign is going to be the key. The next one that we do, we talked about keeping track of time. So this actually took about 11 minutes of time to run after we fixed, after I fixed the failure that I noticed. So I don't know what you would do with this. I mean, could you bill that time? Could you show the customer? It's up to you. But we just threw it in there, and we've got a tag called Ninite time, so you could run a report that would list by machine all the time that Ninite took spent on updating that machine for whatever it's worth. Okay, and then this is sort of the big thing that we're going to use. This is a summary of what was done. So you can see, and it's broken up with tags here. Let me get Kyle to put a space in there. But you can see we had Silverlight was updated, right? Because we updated it there. Flash IE was updated. Flash was installed. Java was updated. Java 64 was installed. 7-zip was installed, and Reader was updated. Okay, so this is the summary line. And what we found in doing this is that while we could have put it in the body here, we ran into problems in the reporting side because it just seemed like sometimes if it got too deep into the list of programs, it wouldn't find it. And I don't know if it's a bug or just a limitation of the variable or something like that, but we solved it by moving it and making its own separate summary line. And this is going to be really important, basically, in the future. I'm actually going to just copy that. I'm going to throw that into the notepad real quick, just so that I have it. Because I'm doing this, I'm going to try to build this for you live, at least a couple of the things. Maybe not do all of them, but I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so this is the quick view. You can, you can go in there and just see what happened. But obviously you might want to run a report and show either the customer or yourself, or run a weekly report so you can go through and see if anything has not been updated or is out of date. So the way we do that, we're going to go over to Info Center. All right, so we go to Info Center and we're going to go to Reports. All right, and let's start by just doing the summary report. Okay, and you can do that by basically we're going to create. I'm going to create this for you. All right, so we've got a third-party apps audit, but let's assume you don't have access to any of these reports, or you want to create your own. All right, so we're going to create a new report. This is going to be a legacy report. Okay, so it's going to be a legacy report, and it's going to be a log report, and we're going to run the agent procedure log. Okay, so that's the key. So legacy report, log, the category is logs, the type of report is an agent procedure report. Hit next. And then there's only a few things that you need to put in here. First of all, you tell it how far back do you want to count, do you want to look at. Most of the time when we're running an audit, we want to only go back like 1 day, or in this case, it defaults to 3 days. So if we were running an audit every week, if you said go back 7 days or 8 days or 14 days, you're going to get multiple entries. You're going to get the entry for yesterday, and then you're going to get the entry maybe for a week ago, because if you set this too high. So I just want to look. I only want to look back a couple of days. So we'll just leave that at 3. All right, so here is the magic. Okay, this is how all of the audit reports that we run, and anything that uses a key, it's all using the same report. And it is doing you put the tag here, and the tag that we're going to put here is asterisks. They're always surrounded by asterisks, $, Ninite, $, asterisks. Okay, the asterisks are very important to make sure they work. And why don't we do this? We'll call this Ninite update report. Okay, that's pretty much it. It's setting this, make sure that that's set correctly, and putting the magic tag in there. All right, so we're going to hit save. And then we're going to go ahead and run that. All right, so we'll open this up. There's my Ninite update report. I'm going to say run now. And I think I just one of the other columns was how what you want to do with it. Do you want to send it, etc. But I'm just going to hopefully this just be a PDF. I didn't look. I'm picking the machine. Obviously, you would pick the group or whatever you want. I've only got one machine in there, so I'm just going to go ahead and submit that, and we'll get that report. This should be pretty fast, so I'm not going to pause while it runs. It's only one machine. All right, there we go, and there we go. Okay, so you can see here in this report, here's the all-in-one that we ran, and here are all the results. Notice the audit report showed up when we ran the audit, because I used the key Ninite in that as well. So both of them are showing up. I went back. I told to go back 3 days, and this report was actually run last night, so it's within the 3 days there. But that's it. It's really that simple. You'll get a report broken down by machine that will show you this information, and again, make sure you put asterisks around the tags. Okay. All right. That's that. All right. So now the tough one. Okay. This is, I think one of the things that we tried to do was, be able to, how can you show your clients, how do you show your customers how you are managing their machines, how you're updating their machines in the background, and that's not been easy to do. So what we've done is we have the ability to modify the executive summary report to show that information. Okay. And the way that we do that is I'm gonna hopefully be able to do this quickly for you, because it takes a little bit of time to set up. Once it's set up, you would probably copy that report to other customers and run it, but setting it up is a little tricky. Okay, so let's start here. I'm going to start with a legacy report. And this is, again, we're going to pick executive, and we're going to pick executive summary report. Sorry, executive summary. Next. right, and when that comes up, we're telling it to go back 30 days. You'll want to uncheck some things that you don't use, right? I don't want to get too deep into that for this one, but if you're not using AVG, uncheck security status. If you're not using KAV or KAM, uncheck these things, right? So you want to customize this to what you do. All right, so then what we're really going to do is we're going to go into the system activity. Okay, so we're going to go into system activity. Okay, so here is our system activity. So this is where we're going to list what goes on. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this backups completed because unless you're using a Cronus, that's not going to mean anything. And so what we can do here is we can add lines to this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in there and I'm going to add, basically add some lines. Pick one, add, sorry. All right, and you can see it comes up with this word new log, and then you can move it up or down, okay? So what I've found is it's sometimes easier just to add a bunch of them at once, and then you can edit them later, okay? So I'm just going to add like 4 or 5 of them here. Oops, I moved it up, moved down. Okay, all right, so let's just start with 2 of them here, okay? I'm just going to do one of each type and show you how to do it, and then you can take it from there because you're going to want to create this for which programs. You have to create a line for every program that you update or install. Okay, so that list of things that we had, Chrome and 7-zip and Flash, we would want to have each of those represented here. All right, and it's a little bit of work. But once it's set up, like I said, you can duplicate it, so it's not too bad. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this, and I am going to make a header called software updates. Okay, so the row type is a header. I'm going to hit apply. Okay, and so then we're going to pick this one, and we're going to edit this one. All right. And let's see, we updated Silverlight, okay, and Flash was updated. So I'm going to say Silverlight, and the row type is basically a script log, okay? So you pick row type script log, then we need to go and pick the script. And this is why I can't like export this and give this, to you, because you have to pick the exact script that you're using. All right, and so the easiest way to do that is to probably use the name. So we'll call this Ninite. Let's see if it should filter, and it brings up, hopefully the stuff at the top there. We want the VA. Let's see if I can find it quickly. There's actually so many of them there. I've got like 3 pages. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to call this all-in-one. Remember, that was the name of the script. So we'll type in all in, and that should hopefully be enough. There we go. And we need to pick the VA Ninite no cache all-in-one. That should be it. And then here's the key, the search filter. Just like the tags from before, we're going to use the search filters. And you remember we save this. So the search filter is this particular tag. So it's going to be, again, asterisk, $, Silverlight updated, $, asterisk. Okay, and we apply that. All right, and then let's go ahead and we'll do one more here. So I'm going to edit this one, and we'll make this one the, let's see, that was the Flash. Let's do Flash IE updated. So we'll do Flash for IE, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to the script log, and we're going to do all in. Come on, Chris. Okay, and no cache VA all in one. All right, and here again we're going to pick this tag. Okay, asterisk is around it, and we're going to hit apply. All right, and let me go ahead and add another couple of things here. At least one more. All right, so now we're going to do a new header. So we're going to edit this, and we're going to call this software installs. Okay, and again, it's a header, so we just hit apply. And we'll go here, and let's see. We've got back to our, so Flash was installed, and Java 64 and 7-zip. So let's just go ahead and put Flash there and call it a day. Okay, so you get the idea of how we're doing this. It's really not hard. It just takes a little bit of time. So this is going to be Flash, and we're going to again pick a script log. We're going to pick the all-in-one. Oh, come on. Sorry. All right, all-in-one, VA Ninite, no cache, and we'll grab the Flash installed tag. Control C, Bing, asterisk, apply. Okay. There we go. All right. You got the idea. I know this took a little bit of time. I could have just showed it to you on the screen and said, okay, here's how you do it, but I wanted to actually take you through the steps so you know what's going on. So we'll call this executive summary Ninite just so we know that that's the one. And again, you can select the other stuff, but let's go ahead and get into this and see if this works. All right, so we've saved it. Now, we're going to run now, but you would schedule this to run every month for your client. And we're going to go ahead and hit the Run Now button. And we're going to run it for just this machine. Or obviously, you would pick the organization if you were doing it. All right, it didn't actually take that long. Oops, what am I doing here? Totally ran the wrong one. All right, so now we're going to run the executive summary report Ninite. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click Run Now. Obviously, you would probably schedule this for your client, so I'm going to hit Run Now. And you would pick the, normally the machine group or the group that's your client, but we're just going to go ahead and hit Submit. And I'm going to go ahead and pause it and let this run. Okay, so there it is. Didn't really take that long to run. So this is the Executive Summary Ninite. This is the new Executive Summary Report. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty much like the old one, except it's kind of better fonts and things. So we're going to scroll down to the system activity. And here you can see it's going to report on software updates. It's going to tell us how many times, it's going to count how many times it finds that particular tag over the last 30 days. So in this case, we just did the one. So we're going to have one Silverlight, one Flash, and then it shows the software installs, and it has Flash. And that's basically it. You just go in there and set this up for each of those programs, and schedule schedule it to run every week, and hopefully this will be able to, you'll be able to see how many times it was updated. And if it was updated twice during the month for that client, it'll count it as an extra time. So you will have more updates than you do have machines potentially, right? So, all right, I hope that was helpful. We'll get back to the live broadcast.
All right, guys.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
Wow, that took forever. Sorry about that. Yeah. So hopefully that was worth it. We're going to hang out, I guess, and do some Q&A. But while you guys are thinking up your questions, Dan, you want to just, we had a lot of questions about, licensing Ninite and how to get it, et cetera. You want to take them through that?
Yeah, so there's been a bunch of questions about that. And so if you guys have questions about what you've seen, go ahead and type it in. Hopefully, you were able to track with us through the whole presentation. I know one or two people said that they had some blurry screen issues. We are recording this, and it is recorded in high def. So, if it was blurry for you the first time, go back through during the recording, and you'll be able to see that. As far as how to get Ninite, there's two ways. And right up at the beginning, one of the guys noticed he had a pretty sharp eye. He noticed, he said some of the scripts are labeled VA and some of the scripts are labeled not VA, and that's because there's two licensing models that we got. I'm just going to go over this really quick because we're not really trying to sell Ninite. If you want to buy it yourself, you can go to ninite.com/pro and you can literally just sign up. And you pay a monthly price for the number of seats that you're going to have, and that's it. I mean, they'll give you a key, and that's pretty much all there is to it.
You get your own custom Ninite one. I think it's called executable. It's tailored to you. So
there you go.
That's what it is.
And you can use that with our script. What you'll do is you'll use the scripts that were written for Ninite and not for VA. And the alternative way to do it is to do it through Virtual Administrator. If you are a Go Manage partner, which if you are, then you would know that, then it's included as part of your billing. So we wrap that in, and you can get that. If you're not, then they're basically just 25 cents a license per month. And they're sold in packs of 10, and you just shoot us an email at sales@virtualadministrator.com. We'll get you set up, and that's pretty much all there is to it. So it's very easy. One of the guys was saying, well, why would I go through VA if I can just get it direct from Ninite? And the answer is, well, we're not going to get rich off of selling Ninite. Really, we're just doing this to make it convenient so all your billing is one place, or or one of the reasons we did it is because we've bundled it with with some products.
Yeah,
so
we just give you a little
really
flexibility to get exactly what you need, So believe me, please buy it from Ninite. It doesn't make any difference to us. But if you were just maybe over, like you had 20 machines you wanted to start with, for us that would be 20 times 25, so it's 25 cents or whatever that is, $5 for a month instead of $20 a month. So they only sell in tiers, and their tiers are pretty big. But please, there's a lot of times we probably lose money because we always have to buy ahead of you guys. So I mean, we're not in. We didn't get into this for the money. Trust me, there's not enough money in it to pay for it. So
yeah,
whatever makes sense.
Yeah, it's
okay.
What's best for you.
All right.
So I flipped back and through a couple times. So we're coming up on the Q&A section. We're actually exactly at the hour mark. So Chris and I are going to hang out for at least half an hour, I think. I will.
Well, let's try to
if Chris wants to blow us off, that's fine.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So if you guys want to stay on, then you're more than welcome, and we'll be here. If you need to run, then that's up to you. But we're going to get cracking on some of these questions. So I think the best thing. Oh, the first question I want to address real quick is even though we've said it a couple times now, people were saying, "Hey, is there going to be a recording? Will I get a recording?" Yes, we are recording this. It will be published. You should get an automatic email in about an hour, and then probably within the next day, I'll be sending out probably towards the end of the week, I'll be sending a YouTube link so that you can get that. And then ultimately I will be chopping this up into little pieces so that you can digest it a little bit easier and go through it. So there will be several different renditions of the recording, and I'll be making you as aware of them as I can. So then from there, Chris, you want me to just kind of why
don't you just tee them up and I'll knock them back? Just ask me questions.
Yeah. So one of the guys was asking about Chocolatey.
Okay.
Chocolatey? Am I pronouncing that right?
Yep, Chocolatey.
I mean, his first question was, why did we go with Ninite over Chocolatey? Is that
right? So I think he sort of, I think I saw that question come up. I mean, it's a good question. I've had it done before. So Chocolatey is sort of a open source solution to doing the same thing. I am not a fan of free. You millennials out there may like free, but free doesn't mean that somebody is out there responsible for keeping these things up to date. And we could do it if we wanted. We could create a bunch of Chocolatey scripts, probably accomplish much of the same thing. But my feeling is, Ninite is not asking a lot of money for this. They do a really good job of keeping the stuff up to date. We've got some good reporting out of it. That all the reporting that we get out of it Part of that is done through Ninite. The auditing, see, Chocolate wouldn't be able to do the auditing. It would be right back to like our own things. You'd have to, I don't know if you could maybe list all the programs, but Ninite can do that with one line, very easily. So anyway, I don't think at 20 cents or 25 cents a machine, it's going to break anybody's piggy bank. And I personally would rather have a company that is dedicated to doing this and responsible for it. And that's why we went that way.
Gotcha. Okay. So that kind of sums that up. And if you guys have follow-up questions, feel free to punch them in. I am scrolling through here. So, so the big elephant in the room is KSDU, or to say a software deployment module.
Right.
Why? I mentioned it. I mentioned in one of the emails, I said that this basically replaces KSDU, and Chris, when he saw that in the email, looked at me and said, "Dan, I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah,
but they're very similar. They're very similar. So what's the similarity?
They both use the Ninite database, but I don't know if you guys know, but the Ninite and Kaseya kind of parted ways like a year ago. So if you still have KSDU and you still have a Ninite subscription, whenever that subscription runs out, you cannot renew it. They no longer have that relationship. What is supposed to happen, last I heard, is that they were going to release or update the KSDU model to allow you to use your own Ninite 1. Like you could put your own license key in there. So if you do that, then that same key would work for us. But if you've already got KSDU, you'd have to weigh the pros and cons. I think, we might be able to do some cooler reporting and stuff, but they have some advantages of being able to like see columns of stuff and things because it's a whole module. So, you decide. I mean, it doesn't, other than getting the script, if you're not a VA partner, subscribing to Club MSP, there's no cost to running it if you already have the license. So, have at it. But when we looked at KSDU originally, and the reason we started doing our own Ninite, in fact, we started the Ninite stuff before Kaseya even released that, was a cost issue. It just seemed like, I think Kaseya was charging 85 cents or something like that. It was a little pricey for basically doing what we could do for 25 cents, and so we didn't kind of jump on that bandwagon. It wasn't available to our SaaS partners, so that's kind of where we are. So if you, I think I saw a question. I don't know if it was Seth or whatever was asking. If you have a KSDU still licensed, I don't think you can use that license key. I don't think you can. I'm not sure exactly how Kaseya and Ninite did their license. That's why we use a license key. Otherwise everybody could just use our Ninite 1. But so we have a special thing to turn on that license key. So our things require a license. So anyway, I don't think it would work, honestly. So I would, I would say use up the remaining of your license and then decide at that point. Actually, if you already have the KSDU module, if Kaseya releases it, I would probably just renew that one, buy it from Ninite, and then you'd have flexibility. You could use it for us or use it from them. The other thing, the KSDU module, it uploads all of those installers to the K server, and then it downloads them from there, and that's a lot of storage and traffic on the K server. So we prefer that be pulled directly from the outside world. So for those of you that are on our servers and do want to license Ninite, we would prefer that it didn't get uploaded to the K server. Pull it from your web server or something like that. Just hide it somewhere, and that way we all save bandwidth. Go ahead.
That's actually a really good segue into the next question I was going to ask you, which is talking about the cache. Tony asked pretty early on, is the cache centralized or is it per machine? How do you guys handle that?
So this is I touched on this a little bit. We have a script that we wrote. When we wrote the script, we wrote it to be able to share that cache. In testing, we found that unless you're on a domain we really couldn't get reliable results from it. It's just when Kaseya is running this stuff, it's running it as a system, and the system doesn't have credentials to access another system. And so you have to start using, you have to set credentials and do, I mean, there's a lot more work involved in doing that. And so we kind of came to the conclusion that we weren't going to make that standard. We were going to make that an option. But if you look at the script library, there is that option in there. In fact, we even create the share for you. We give you a script to test the share. And then when you set your variables, you'll create another variable that will tell it where to find it on that network. There's a second variable that you set. And like I said, I think the answer to this is to do another webinar on just that piece once I feel a little more confident in it. Until that point, everything is cached locally on the machine in that K-working directory. As I showed you during the recorded demo, it came up. Okay.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Okay, so moving forward, when I interrupted you in the presentation, one of the questions that I asked, the question I asked you was, like, is it possible to kind of have like a base set and then install across the board and then, have special lists and stuff like that? Can you just real quick, is it possible for you to get back there where you could show us the managed variables and show us maybe how you might do it on like a per client basis? Is that something?
Well, everything is done. Yeah, everything is done per client. I mean, that's just the way it works. It's not per machine. I don't know if maybe that didn't come across correctly, but it's all based on we use machine groups a lot in our hosted machines, right? A lot of people use organizations, but the variables I don't believe uses organizations at all. It only uses machine groups. So when we look at the Ninite, we created this Ninite apps, which is a private variable, and we set that to this big long, the big long string here, basically, right? That I had in the. Let me find my. This is my notepad, right? We set it to that, which ended up being this. So if you had 100 customers, each one of these is a customer. Think of every line here as an organization or machine group, okay? It's not a machine, it's a machine group. So we can only do this at the group level. We can't do this down to the individual machine level. This is all done at the group level. So it's per customer or per customer grouping. So the solution, if you had 5 computers that needed something different, would be to create a machine group underneath your main group and separate them out. And then you could assign the 5 computers one thing and the rest of them another thing.
So in order to do that for multiple customers, basically what you would do is set that variable for each. Like you would go through the process of setting that variable, and then you would just check a different group and apply it.
Yeah, I select all. I can hit select all and apply this to all of my groups, basically.
Gotcha.
Right. So that's not a problem, but it is assigned at the group or at the machine level, machine group level, not at the machine level. Maybe that's what was confusing.
Yeah. No. I just wanted to clarify that and make sure that we covered that. A quick follow up on the caching. Does the cache build up over time? When it pulls it down to the K-working directory, or does it clean itself up, or how does that happen?
I don't know. It looks like it leaves it there. So with the local cache, I don't know if it updates like the new versions, if it overwrites it. We'll have to really look at it. If it becomes a problem, we'll probably end up, looking at either putting it into a subdirectory and then cleaning that subdirectory out. The advantage of having it is that if it needs to be reinstalled, it's already there. It won't download it again. But I don't know. In most modern machines, there's plenty of storage space, so it shouldn't be a big deal. But if they had like an SSD drive that they were short on space, maybe this would eat up a little bit. But again, we could write a script if we had to try to clear it out if it becomes a problem.
Gotcha.
The short answer is I don't know.
Okay. Okay, moving on. Is there a way to make the Ninite script only update versus install new software? So like if you have like Yeah, if you have like a base set of programs that you have and you just apply it to all your clients, right, like we just talked about, but you don't necessarily want it to install ones that don't already exist on those machines, is there a way to do that?
You would have to make a decision, like kind of up front, as to, and I think it's kind of contradictory. You would the idea behind this was to have a standard load that you would want to have installed at all of the client's machines, that client's machines, right? So if so, what you would probably do is minimize that and say, look, I just want Flash and Java and to be installed. Like maybe that's it, right? And then anything else, we could run another script. We have. Let's see if I can find it for you. I don't know if I can find it for you quickly here. Under VA scripts, and again, this would be in Club MSP as well. Under Ninite VA license, we have a update only all apps. Okay, so this is the script that you could run, and it's just a switch. I mean,
here. They can't see you.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
Over.
Good. All right. Yeah, sorry about that. So basically under VA scripts, Ninite update only. So if you need to look at it in Club MSP, look for that. So it's an update only script, and all this is a switch. These are all just switches in, and this is like again why we love Ninite is like you can just from a switch be able to decide I want to only update things that are there. But remember, like update only, what if they have iTunes on their machine? Do you want to be responsible for updating their iTunes? It's any one of those 111 different things. So if they've got any of these things, I mean, they got like torrent on here and stuff, I think. There was some, I don't remember. Yeah, uTorrent is there. I mean, is this stuff you want to be responsible for updating? And that's what that command would do. When you say update all, it'll update everything that it can update that it finds on the machine. So I think my feeling is you want to focus on the things that are important to you, and maybe not spread it too wide, but that would be a simple script that you could run on top of this other stuff to say, just go ahead and update everything, And by the way, you can provide a list just the same way that we did with the with that other list. You could provide a list of all of the software you want to even update. Okay, so if you didn't want to do iTunes, you could either exclude iTunes from it, or you could just provide the positive or the exclusion. And all that is documented on Ninite's site. If you go up to Ninite Pro, and you go down to probably command line options. So they have things like select. That's what we're using. We're selecting the app. Update only is the thing that would only update things. Exclude app. So these are all commands that can be run. And if you need help with it, just if you're a VA partner, just open a ticket or set up some time on my calendar, and I'll help you set it up. It's really, really not hard to do because the script itself is pretty flexible.
Cool. And the last another quick note, Galen actually mentioned talking about cleaning up the cache. There's a switch to clean up.
That's a good thing.
So
Thanks.
I don't know if we have that on there.
We may not, and we probably should, and that's something that we could add easily. That's a really good idea because I kind of saw that too when I was doing some of the demos. I think that would be good. I thought there had to be. I originally thought you had to specify. I think there was a cache, like not the cache path, but I don't know if there was no cache or something like that. But anyway, we can either run a clean cache script, like we could write a clean cache script to do it, but I like your idea if there's a cleanup option. That may be what you're talking about. I bet that's the command you're talking about.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So, and Roy's talking, he just punched in real quick, talking about separating workstations and servers. I think I can just answer this real quick. Roy, if you want to run the script and you don't want it to run on servers, then you can set the manage variable for the whole group and then just don't apply the script to run on servers. If you want to treat them differently, then you would need to put them into subgroups. Right?
Yeah. If you wanted to kind of automate it, I mean, I think in the servers, because there's not a lot of there's not a lot of movement, I would probably just have like a script, like have one script that you ran in your template or to automatically install a few things on your server. And then you could use the update only, have an update only script and run it on there. And you wouldn't, I mean, this, the idea behind this was really for workstations because of the like how different everybody is in terms of the load. Probably on a server, you're not going to have much different on a server. I mean, I don't know too many of you guys that would want to install. I mean, usually the rule is we don't want to install anything on a server if we can avoid it, but if we can avoid not having Java and Flash and Reader and all, I mean, we prefer not to have it on there. But, if you want to load a certain load, go ahead and do it. If you want to automate it using this, you would need to have a separate subgroup for it. But I think that would be probably wasteful.
Okay. Renee asked, are we going to have a written like PDF of how to do this?
We actually do have one. We do have one.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
so if anyone wants that.
Yeah, now you've opened up a can of worms.
I know, right?
We'll probably I'll probably provide a link to it. I need to go through it. We did this when we did the initial thing. I'll tell you where it's more required for is the when you get into the cached version, it's almost a requirement to have that. But we do have one. All
right.
We'll send us an email.
Do me a favor. Yeah, send an email. I'm going to put it in the sticky to sales@virtualadministrator.com. There we go. Send an email and just put in the title written Ninite instructions if you can, because that way, as soon as we go through it and get it, polished up, we'll try to send that out to everyone that needs that. So I'll try to make sure that gets out. All right, and the last question that I have here, if you guys have any more questions, this is your chance to punch them in. Of course, you can always email us afterwards. But Trevor asked, is it possible to create software versioning like company XYZ relies on software X, which is a proprietary, frequently updated software package? Like, I guess, Trevor, tell me if I'm wrong here, but can we basically force Ninite to install a specific version, right? Is that what you're asking? And is that doable, Chris?
So there's two ways I'm interpreting his question. One would be, can we do other products? Which the answer is no. That was something that KSDU could do, and that was one of the advantages of paying for KSDU is you could create custom deployment packages for that. And if you needed that, then KSDU would be a good solution. So in the list of these 111 items, obviously a lot of them are like duplicates or triplicates of different things. So let's take Java. That's a big one, right? So you say that you need a particular version of Java. You can control it, I believe, down to the master release, like 6, 7, 8. So you would just specify Java 7 for that client. But they're going to keep it to the latest patch. Like it's always going to bring it up to 79 B15. If you needed 760, then I don't think it will work. There's a thing called prefer version, but I don't think it takes. I mean, this software is designed to keep things updated, right? That's their job. So they don't really have a way that I know of to say I only want to install 60 there. You would use that. You would use a separate script for that. We would write you a Java installation script for 60, and that basically, and you would not want to update anything else. You would tell us to not update Java on this one.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the right answer. We don't publish that we officially write scripts for every request that comes in, but if you got a script request and it seems like it'd be a good addition to the community, then you can always just send an email to us, and we would try to get that script written for you. So I can't promise that we'll write that script, but chances are we try to help in as many of these situations as we can.
Yeah, I mean, we have Kyle is awesome. We've got a full-time script admin. That's his job. Full-time is to keep our group of scripts updated, and then help our partners with new scripts. He spent I think almost 150 some odd hours on this script. to do this. I mean, we spent a lot, and that's just his time, and I was helping. We spent a lot of hours working on something like this. It takes a lot of time to figure it out and troubleshoot it. And you guys are welcome to look at the VB script that we use to edit everything down. I mean, it's there's some stuff in there. There's a lot of cool things that go into making this happen.
Yeah. So thanks, Trevor. That was a good question. And definitely props to Kyle for all that he's done here. We didn't actually have him on the webinar, but he has put in a lot of work on this and other scripts too. So he does a really good job. You saw his face at the beginning of the webinar, though. We got him in the intro. That was a big deal because he wasn't for like the first year he worked for us.
Well, it takes a long time to do those videos, I know. So
I told him he was now officially part of the company now that he is in the opening video, and he can never leave ever again.
I know, because you don't want to fix it. So, Trevor, I just want to follow up with Trevor. I mean, I think we answered it, hopefully, Trevor. I mean, if you were talking about your client that needs a version, I mean, that would be the kind of situation that you would want to exclude installing Java, using this methodology. Remember, you can always use the other scripts. You can always have a very specific script, and if you needed one to make sure one, well, I don't know why, at some point you just wouldn't update it, right? That would be the goal, is to install what you want and make sure nobody touches it. So I'm not sure you need a script to do that, but if you needed a script to install a particular version, that would be pretty easy to do. We probably have already got it done someplace.
Yeah. So moving on, a quick question, which I think is going to be a quick answer, is does this script work in any other RMM other than Kaseya? Oh
yeah, poor David. David, I'm sorry. No, I mean, maybe we should have made that clear, but typically, the virtual administrator, I mean, we've been, our whole business was built on helping people get started with Kaseya. And so most of our partners, most of the people we communicate with have Kaseya. There may be obviously a few in there. We have some other product lines, but you would be on your own. I mean, if there was some import utility that they had that would allow you to import a Kaseya script, maybe you could use it. You could certainly, I mean, I honestly, it wouldn't be worth for you to subscribe to Club MSP. But if the way the script works, if you looked at our JavaScript, I mean, maybe you could develop your own for it. But unfortunately, I don't see this work. This is certainly not going to work anywhere else off the shelf, right? I mean, Ninite will, but I'll bet you that people in your community have other Ninite scripts, other ways to use Ninite. This is very specific to Kaseya.
However, if you would like to use Kaseya, our Go Manage program does have a 30-day trial, which you could try it out. Just saying. Just throwing that out there. Let's see. Last question that I have here is Dave. Yeah, he asked, what happens if an update fails?
So we have some error handling in there. Basically what happens is, as Kyle goes through and parses through the output file, if there's something that he hasn't seen before, it records that, and it actually is part of the script. It sends him an email. He'll get an email, and they'll send the file, and then he can update the JavaScript. The beauty of doing it this way is, like, the JavaScript sits out on the web. He can make a change, and then next time you run it, it's there. You don't have to update anything. All of our scripts are written like that, where we use cloud variables for almost anything that's important, so that if we need to make a change to a download location or registry key, in this case a VB script, all that stuff is downloaded on the fly, and it allows us a lot of flexibility in being able to fix stuff if something doesn't work correctly. So you should see something in the procedure log. It should write out that there was a problem. The way you audit that is by, if you ran an audit every week after you ran the updates, you would see that it's not updating, and then you'd go in and basically figure out what and why, and tackle it. And if you guys, please, if you find anything wrong, anything, we can test it on X amount of machines, but at some point, there's nothing like the world out there. But if you run into any problems with it, please let us know. Just send, either open a ticket at help@virtualadministrator.com or send an email to sales and let us know what's going on, and we'll get Kyle to look at it and tweak around it. All right.
I think
we got them all? Did we knock them down? That's almost a half hour.
Yeah, I think we did a pretty good job on that.
We still got a lot of people on, so I appreciate you guys hanging on. Wow, it's a long webinar. Anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of work, but it's good stuff to be able to put this kind of stuff together for you. I mean, this is what it's all about, and this is what we're here for. So if you have any ideas for improvement, please let us know. Most of what we developed today is feedback from our partners. People that are out there on the front lines. You need to accomplish something, and he's like, can we do this? And we've done some pretty cool scripts in the last year, based on partners just simply asking for something.
Definitely.
So,
love feedback.
Hear from you.
Love questions, comments. Definitely.
Okay.
I think that about covers it. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Dan.
Yep. Thanks for presenting to us too.
No problem. My pleasure. Have a great rest of your day.
Yep. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. I'll be sending out a recording. You'll get, like I said, you'll get an automatic email in about an hour with the webinar recording, and we'll be sending out a YouTube link later this week, so you'll be getting that too. So thank you very much.